Guys, what's happening? Hope you're good. Hope you're looking forward to this podcast. Just a really quick one to say that we have opened the doors to our Elite Movement Blueprint. And this is a course, a program, a process for professional men that are looking to command their life by commanding their time, their energy, and their focus. This brings you education through our blueprint, community through our app and community, and of course, accountability to make sure you're doing what you said you were going to do. If it's something you're interested in, currently, right now, we have 7 places available. The doors open until Sunday, the 3rd of March at midnight. And if you want to come and take part, if you want to start working with us, if you want to start getting to work on your routines and your structures and your systems to make sure that you are leading you to lead those around you, then the link is in the bio. Go and check it out. It will be amazing to work with you and put some of this theory into practice. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the podcast, and I'll see you really soon.
So tonight we're going to talk about how do we build self-belief? Okay, how do we build confidence? How do we overcome fear? How do we overcome all of that to be able to show up and do what we said we were going to do? Okay, so the first day we very much talked about fortitude and mental fortitude and building that resilience through the 6 principles, the elite principles. And if we follow these 6 elite principles, they end up becoming the framework, the structure, the routine, and the system to be able to make sure that you're winning, to make sure that you're doing all the right things to get you to becoming this top 1% performer. Okay. And on day 2, we talked about vision, we talked about direction, we talked about how we manage and use our time, energy, and focus, okay, to make sure that we're on top of our game. Okay, and tonight we're just going to talk about the process, building that confidence, like I said, building this self-esteem, the self-worth, so that actually when we go out there, we can really deliver and we can really change the way that we're showing up, okay? Okay, so let's get into it. So I'm going to take you through a process in a minute, but what I think for me, self-belief and confidence is, it's almost like an inflatable, like a balloon. And I think a lot of people's self-belief and a lot of people's confidence is very much varied depending on the lifestyle that somebody lives. So like one minute we could blow up that balloon and we could be really confident and we could have lots of self-belief and we can feel really good about ourselves. And then the next thing is that it just inflates, so it deflates, and just, you know, that noise that the balloon makes is like that, and it comes all the way back down. So that's how I often see confidence and self-belief. And it's a case of how do we constantly keep filling that balloon with air so that we can maintain confidence, maintain self-belief, because every now and then life is going to attack that confidence. It's going to attack our self-worth. It's going to attack our self-belief and what we think is possible. And I want us to really understand the process that we go through to change that, because that fundamentally is your superpower to making sure that you reach your top percent. It's your superpower to make sure that actually you're confident around the house, that you're building success from home, and that within your career or your business, that you're building through that way. Okay, so that's what we're going to cover right here. And I'm going to take you through this process. So I'm going to take you through the process of what the majority of people go through when they join our blueprint. So hopefully you've probably had a look at the blueprint so far and had a look at what's next and how you progress your journey. All right. And I'm going to take you through the emotional, mental and physical, if you like, development of that process and how it affects people's confidence and self-belief. So I've taken it down into an 8-week journey, which is for our basic Elite Brotherhood program. Okay, so when people come through the door, i.e. if you imagine yourself right now, your majority of you probably are sitting on that fence in terms of procrastinating whether to take the leap, in terms of, am I going to just fail at this? Is just going to be another attempt at me trying to work on myself that collapses? Am I good enough to be able to do this or be a part of this? And the quite a common one that we used to have when we run a boot camp was that, am I fit enough to go to boot camp, right? Which is madness. the whole point you go to boot camp is to get fit, right? The whole point you come to work with us is to develop your skill set, is to be held accountable, is to be around like-minded people, is to be in a community. Okay, so when we come in here, we go through a couple of things, and this is the process that we go through, and this is how that confidence and self-belief starts to materialize, because this is the process here. Okay, so the first thing that we start to do is we start to awaken. So we start to wake up. So remember our first part here, which was the wake up. It's like when you suddenly go through these first 2 weeks, you suddenly start coming out of that coma that maybe you're in. Maybe that stale life, maybe the average lifestyle. Maybe when you're waking up and going, where am I going with my life? You suddenly go, man, I've woken up a little bit. I start to feel like I'm doing something for myself. So we start to feel that micro level of achievement. Okay. We can see others achieving as well, which then fills us with confidence that this process works. So then we build confidence off those people. Okay. And then we start to feel slightly better about ourselves because we feel like we're doing something. And the reason that every man needs to work on themselves is that unless we're doing something like this, we just end up going through the cycle of chaos. Notice here, so you can see, I'm going to come back to this in a minute. Okay. So this is the cycle of chaos, and this is where we end up staying. This is where our confidence hits the floor and we don't believe in ourselves. But when we're in a process, we're starting to unpack everything. And it usually happens every 2 weeks. So that's the first 2 weeks. Then from week 2 to week 4, what we start to do is introduce structure, routine, and system. And that takes our brain and our emotions and our confidence levels and all the things that affect our confidence and self-belief. And it kind of like structures it. Okay, it proportions it, because suddenly we have structure and routine and system. So we're working within a calm, controlled environment. We're starting to feel better. We're starting to feel more organized. And that starts to promote confidence and self-belief that actually, do you know what? I can actually start doing more here. I can start to see the potential. I can start to see the achievement. I can see the way that I'm changing things. I'm challenging myself more. And that's what gets us out of that rut. Does that make sense? Then we have more command of our time, energy, and focus. Okay, so the time, energy, and focus is absolutely the key thing that creates the confidence and creates the self-belief. And you might think, well, why does time, energy, and focus develop my confidence and my self-belief? And it's because you're in control. And one of the reasons that many men feel low on confidence and belief is because they're not in control of their actions, their decisions, where they're going in their life. And instead of kind of falling to the vices of the world, like i.e. porn, drugs, booze, working late, okay, we suddenly feel more in control. Okay, so we suddenly go, man, I feel more in control. And suddenly your wife starts noticing, suddenly your friends start noticing, suddenly you're training more. So we're starting to build the 1% wins. We're layering up. All of the millimeters lead to miles. And suddenly we have control and progression. So control and progression starts instilling that confidence and self-belief. Whereas right now, that might not be there because we're just surviving. We're probably just in a firefighting mentality. Does that make sense to everyone? So being stuck in that firefighting mentality just doesn't fill us with confidence. Being all over the place and chaotic with our time and our structure and trying to get 100 things done and never achieving them, that doesn't fill us with confidence. Make sense? So then we go from weeks 4 to 6 right here, okay? So we're starting to move through the process now. And this is quite often where we see people. So when I do my first call with guys at week 4, we start to see this clarity forming. I'm starting to get clarity about what I want out of life. I'm starting to understand why I haven't been showing up. I'm starting to understand what I want more out of life. So it becomes lifestyle design. So we start thinking about, what do I actually want out of life rather than just surviving in life? And surviving in life is that frustrating, numbing feeling that we have every time that we wake up, or when we're trying to wish the week away to get to the weekend, or when we're just absolutely exhausted from our professional world and we're coming home and we're drained and we're like, God, man, I'm just all over the place. Okay. But we start to get clarity about more what we want. There's more commitment there because you can see the light at the end of the tunnel. You can see the better lifestyle. You can see the results. Okay. We have a calmer mentality. And we can see there's a better way. So by the time we get to roughly around this area here, between weeks 4 and 6, we're really becoming quite established. We're really starting to understand. So if you think about somebody who is brand new in the gym, the first couple of weeks would be about getting in the gym, and it would be about instilling confidence within the environment and other people around. By the time weeks 2 and 4 come, we become comfortable with training around other people. We become comfortable maybe within that environment, lifting a little bit heavier. And then when we come here, we get more clarity, more commitment, and we become stronger mentally, emotionally, and physically. So that's another idea of the process up until this point. And then as we go from 6 weeks to the 8 weeks, what we start to see is a complete shift in terms of the mentality. Okay, in terms of the way that you look at this yourself. So when we look here, there's more belief in your potential. So you suddenly go to yourself, right, I have much more potential than I realize. And every single one of you in here has huge amounts of potential that are just untapped. And they're untapped just because you haven't done anything like this before, or you haven't done a course before, or you haven't gone through a process that allows you to grow. Okay, you might have tried by yourself after Christmas and New Year, and that probably lasted 2 weeks, right? We get to here, and then it just fades. We try something, we become inconsistent. We think about changing, but we procrastinate. And the thing that we're wasting the whole time is time. All of the time we're just wasting thinking about it, dwelling on it, not being committed. But what we're doing from here is we're believing that we can be consistent because we've broken through the back of it. So we feel unbreakable. We get to this point and I'm like, man, my endorphins are kicking in. My life looks a lot better. I'm in more control of my finances, my relationships, my career, my business, whatever it is and applies to you. You have your 4 C's. So you start to feel like I've got control, consistency, clarity, and commitment. They're all working, they're all firing off each other. And when we have a bad day, we're starting to understand what we need to do to reconstruct that day. Okay. And then there's the point where we get to, I want more. Okay. I want more of this. I want to get better at this. And then it becomes addictive in terms of, man, why didn't I ever do this before? And that's a common statement that we hear. Okay. So does this process make sense? Has anyone got any questions on this so far? Okay. So this is a typical process of someone that comes through a blueprint. This is the journey that they will go through, okay? And at this stage here, this is where you are right here, day 0. And this is where you're thinking, is this process going to help me? Is it going to change me? Am I fearful of showing up? I might feel like I'm going to look like an idiot. Am I procrastinating on whether this is going to benefit me? There's all these different questions, And like anything, whenever we're thinking about doing something, like I remember when I first went to my jiu-jitsu class, I remember driving to jiu-jitsu, sitting in the car outside, and I never got out the car and I drove home on my first ever session. And that's because I was low on confidence, low on self-belief, and I didn't think, I thought I was going to look stupid around others, and I didn't think I could do it. And I drove away and I was like, oh my God, like, what am I doing? I was literally driving home going, what am I doing? This was in 2016. And then the next day I went and I got out the car and I got in there and I broke the back of that fear. And I realized that there is nothing to be fearful of. On the other side of fear, when we break through fear, we realize that there is so much potential. There is such better outcomes for us. But the fear comes from the overthinking. It comes from past experiences. It comes from perceived outcomes that you think are going to happen. And we tend to go to the worst case scenario. So instead of going to the worst case scenario, go to the best case scenario. Instead of overthinking, overthink positively. Because quite often when we overthink in a negative format. So the narrative is negative, right? Make sense? If you are still with me, guys, and you're watching, just let me know what your thoughts are on this in the comments. Trying to get as much interactive as possible. So it saves me the realization that I'm just standing here talking to my phone with the light in my face. So this is what I would call the cycle of chaos. So this is where a lot of guys are when they are untrained in terms of showing up. And within this cycle of chaos, okay, there are some things happening. And I want you to tell me if you recognize these, even if you're watching back, okay? So negative narrative. So always being really negative on yourself, always like harsh on yourself. You're not good enough. What's the point? Oh, I just give up. The fuck it. Just fuck it. Does that make sense? So you're constantly always berating yourself. And it's like, imagine doing that to somebody else and going, you're not good enough. Okay. What are you playing at? You look stupid doing that. It would sound outrageous if you did it to someone else, but yet you do it to yourself. So you self-inflict that punishment on yourself all the time. You get promoted. You get promoted and you go on, there's no way I can do this job. Imposter syndrome. Okay. You run a business and you look up. When I first started this job and I started looking after guys' development, I had this imposter syndrome. I'm like, who am I to tell these people? And that's where you just start beating yourself up. Okay. And I still do it all the time. I've been doing it all day. Today I've been fighting that negative narrative all day. Okay. And it's really, really important to that I counter it with positive. It's like a micro battle in your head. Okay. It just comes in. Okay. Oh, what have we done here? It just comes in, the negative, and I have to fight back. And it's like this big battle. And it's like what I showed you on Monday. It's having that thought system, being stronger than the negative, right? Then we fall into the pity and victim. Who here feels sorry for themselves at times? It's like, oh my God, why is it always me? Why is this year so bad? Why is everything happening around me? And we fall into the pity victim mentality. And when we go into there, we go into this negative narrative and our actions are negative. And remember what I said about self-mastery. It starts with your emotions. The emotions trigger the behaviors, and then the behaviors trigger the action. So it's just like, fuck this, I give up, bang, like just wallow. You're a nightmare to be around. Your wife's sitting there going, oh, another grumpy night. And then we go on to the actions and we don't take any action. We don't progress. You know what I mean? So there's no progression. There's no fun. There's no achievement. You're stuck in what I would call a fixed mentality. So we're in a fixed mentality. We're not prepared. Okay. We are not prepared to take a risk. We're not prepared to try something new. We're not prepared to break through fear. We're not prepared to look for new ways to change and grow. So what we often have when people come through these things is we have a mix of a fixed mentality is that I don't need the blueprint, I don't need the course, or I'm going to and that's your vehicle. And then you have the growth mentality. So we've already got 3 guys that join us already in the program. I've already spoken to all 3 of them today. And they've gone from that fixed mentality to that growth mentality. And one of the guys was saying, I'm just sitting there looking for every excuse not to sign up. And he said, I just did it. I just threw myself in and I'm already on the other side and I already feel better. And you're on a cliff edge of this overthinking. He was like, I'm just overthinking it. Just do it. And already he's finished the first framework. And that's how quickly it can change. But all of these barriers that we put in front of us are stemmed on our self-belief and our confidence and our fear and what we think is going to happen. Do you know what I mean? So those guys are here already on that journey, and we've got guys peppered right across here, all at different stages. And that's the beauty of being in that community, because the guys here have been where the guys here are and they can lift them up. Okay. And then we lack mentorship and guidance. One of the biggest things that I always think in life is that we don't have enough mentors. We don't have enough guidance. We don't have enough leaders. And I'm not talking about your wife. That's my main job. My job is to be a mentor to men too, because I've had a lot of experience. I understand what they're going through and we know exactly what we need to do to counter that. Okay. It then just becomes a case of, are you coming in? And I'll show you exactly what we need to do to get you to where you want to be. And that's what it's about. So this is what we always go to. Okay. If we're not in a process, we're in a cycle of chaos. Okay. So this is the process. Right here. Okay. This is where the 5% of people will come through. Okay. So 5% of people out of everyone that's in here will come through to this stage here. Okay. And then usually here, about 4% will continue to rise throughout the year. Okay. So through this, we build, we unpack, we develop the conditioning, the muscle of confidence in ourselves by confronting ourselves all of the time. So I just want to take you through these 4 ways that we can build confidence through the process. Okay. Just like literally, problem with having kids and markers is just, and they just pick them up and wander off with them. Okay, so the first thing here, so what this process brings, okay, is getting goals achieved. So when we are achieving goals, we are feeling like we're achieving, we're accomplishing, we have a North Star, we have a purpose, we have fulfillment, okay? We have direction. And I would say, and I want you to be honest here, I want you to be really honest, and it doesn't matter if you haven't, before you come into this Awaken Your Potential, were you working to a 7-day goal, a 28-day goal, where you knew clearly what you were trying to achieve, a 12-week goal? And obviously, if I've got some of my clients in here, you obviously will, but those that are not working with me, when you come into this, were you working towards goals? Were you working to achieving those goals? Were they really clear and specific? Or were they just some things that, and have you written them down? Where you look at them every single day and you connect with them and they become your purpose, they become the fuel for your time, energy, and focus. So that every single day you know you're working towards that. So just say yes or no in the comments and be brave. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're not. It's just to highlight that. Do you know what I mean? It's just a lot of the time in people's mind, they're just things that we daydream or we think about on the commute. So when we have these goals and achievement, they naturally bring confidence, self-belief in terms of achieving the micro levels. Okay. Then the growth mindset. So the growth mindset is about embracing challenges. So when we embrace a challenge, this is a challenge. I'm giving you a challenge to say, don't just stop here. Come on to the discovery. Come and find your true potential. Come and work alongside me and the team and the community and everyone, and literally get to this 8-point mark here, or the 12-week mark, and see what you can achieve. Okay, embrace that challenge, overcome that fear, overcome that thinking. That's the mentality, right? Okay, that's what we're looking for. Okay, learn from failure. As my ma always used to say, fail forwards. Through this process, you will fail loads, but that's where it's mine and the team's job to lift you, pick you up and go, don't feel sorry for yourself. Don't be negative. Let's keep plowing forwards. Keep going up. And that's fortitude, what we talked about Monday night. You fall down, you pick back up, we go again, you become stronger. You fall down, we pick you up, we go again, we become stronger. And that's what our job role is, okay? It's to support those men coming through this process. Effort. There has to be effort, okay? Hard work and effort. There is no hack, there is no pill, there is no secret. You've got to show up. But if you can show up 1% a day for the rest of your life, I can guarantee you that you are going to change the way you live your life. And that's what we're looking for. I want you to just take that 10% more effort every single day to get the 1% growth, so they can move towards being a top 1% performer, right? And then seeking feedback. So like, I'm trying to do this, but this is happening. So today I had like 6 calls. Yesterday I had 6 calls, and every single time guys are just asking for feedback and advice. And it just to ease their clarity, make sure they understand the process, make sure that they're actually, we're keeping their feet on the ground and their expectations are not like, boom, flying away. And all it is are micro discussions about fine-tuning the process of how we can make it better, understanding themselves better. Men just need to help being understood. They just need help and guidance just to move them in a slight right direction, not allow them to stall or get stuck in here, to move them forwards, okay? And that's what we do. And that's what I think we are the best at doing, because we've been doing it a long time and we've worked with a lot of people. Positive talk. Who talks to themselves positively? Who says that? Nice job. Okay, who says, yep, I'm working really hard? Who says, yep, I'm really putting the effort in? Okay, and it's tough. It is tough. And that's what we've got to make sure that we are constantly positively talking to ourselves. And it's a habit that we build through here. So through all of these, we're going to have to undo. How long have you not been showing up for? Like 4 months? 4 weeks, 4 years, 10 years, 20 years. So obviously within this process, we've got to undo all of that. We've got to change the way that you're showing up. Okay. And then here, guidance, mentorship. And that's what we need to make sure that when we go through here, there's a guide. Always imagine a guide with the lantern kind of leading you forwards and making sure that you're on top of your game, right? That's what we're looking to do. But does this all make sense to everybody? This whole process, this model, as I would call it, is ultimately, it's not a case of people go, how do I improve my confidence, self-belief? It's inserting yourself into a process. It's learning more about yourself. It's like going to the gym and becoming confident lifting the weights that you never used to be. It's like going for a run and becoming more confident in your running because you're running more, and everything starts unpacking, and suddenly you can see the man in the mirror. Okay, if that makes sense. So before we wrap up, I just want to very quickly go through a couple of questions that a couple of people have asked about the blueprint. And instead of like me having to go back to every single person with the questions or the answers to those questions, I just want to do it as a general thing so you can all watch back and understand. So what happens when you register, if you decide to come and join us, which the link is here, or I've been emailing the link out to everybody as well. What ends up happening, let me just quickly put this in here so I can explain. Because again, like anything, you just need clarity. That's what guys need in terms of understanding what we're trying to achieve. And I just want you to understand what we're trying to achieve. Because when guys don't understand stuff, it becomes confusing. And then you overthink it. So I've put the details there. Make sure you copy and paste it before we finish. Okay, so what we are, am I not on mute? Let me just see that. So yeah, make sure you copy and paste it, stick it in your notes or something, or in a text message somewhere. What we're trying to do, when you register and you come in, the first thing that you would do is come in and you're going to immediately join our app. You're already in our app, but if you come and join the Elite Squad, you'll join our WhatsApp group, and you will initially get a welcome email, and we will get you in and you'll do 1 week with us. Okay. And in that week, it will be a self-discovery week. You'll follow the blueprint. You'll start following the videos and start educating yourself and start joining in within our accountability system. After a week, you'll then have a call with me or John, who's my operations manager, depending on our availability. And we'll have about 15-20 minute chat about what you want to achieve over the 8 weeks or the 12 weeks if it's one of the other programs, and about understanding how to build a North Star for you. So it's really important that when you come through this process that you are really clear about what you want to achieve. And we will help you in terms of action planning that, okay? In terms of going, these are the things that you need to do at this early stage, okay? And then every 4 weeks, okay? So pretty much every 4 weeks, we will just do a drop-in call with you. So it'll just be a quick phone call, and we'll talk about what's going well. We'll talk about unpacking the process. We'll talk about the fight against all of this that's going on here, okay? We'll talk about how these things are starting to build for you and how we can build them quicker for you, okay? Then every 2 weeks, we'll probably just drop in a voice note on WhatsApp and just double check in with you. And obviously, it's not like we're not there. We have a team that's there to support you. Through the process, there are focus calls, Zoom calls, not like this webinar, but like I get to see your face and you get to see me. And we do continuous training. So not only will you get your blueprint, you'll get the continuous training with the group environment as well. Okay. There is tons of courses in there as well for you to be able to follow through with. I would recommend not touching them at the start. I'd recommend purely focusing on the blueprint and focusing on your accountability and focusing on achieving the thing that you want to achieve, which is here, okay? And going all in on that. And throughout that process, you'll obviously be well supported. You'll have your accountability, you'll have your community, and you'll also have the support that you need to get you to where you want to be, okay? The way that we always do this as well is that we're really confident about what we do. And it's not an arrogance thing. We've just been doing this a long time, and we really understand the need to make sure that this doesn't take over your life. So the other thing I want to re-emphasize is that all you need to make sure you're doing in terms of consuming the education, putting out your accountability, engaging within a community, I think you could do that within about a 15 to 20 minute period of the day. Okay. And that's about 1% of your day. So when you're doing that, you're engaged in this process. So everything that you do within that time, just being in this place here and building that self-belief and confidence and growth mindset, your life becomes the arena that you get to practice in. So you get to practice planning your days. You get to practice making sure you're training on time. Okay. There are workouts in the app for you to follow as well. There's yoga courses, there's nutrition guides as well. And we're about to upgrade in a couple of months to a brand new app on the Apple Store and Google Store as well, which gives you tracking as well. So we track you, and at the end of each week, we're put whether you're showing up or not showing up. There's a morning accountability post that you have to do every single morning to instill the coding into your brain to make sure that you're showing up. At the weekend, you have to put up your plans and you have to review your plans, okay? On Wednesday, you have to then do a midweek check-in, and that's for you to say, this is how far I progressed with my plan so far. And it's all to build the non-negotiable structures, the routines and habits. Is to make sure you're managing your time, your energy and focus. And it's making you more controlled. Does that make sense to everybody? And this all stems from making your life much better so that you're moving all of the time. The aim is to become a top 1% performer. Okay. And that naturally improves your relationships at home because you're becoming more understanding, you're managing your time better, you're communicating better, you naturally feel more confident and have higher self-esteem. So you feel more attractive for your wife. You want to do more for her. You become the superhero to the kid. You know, if your kid's coming home and the kids are running home, they're like, hey, and you're making time for them, you're putting your phone down, you're more aware. These are really powerful things that we all come under the headline of success starts at home. That's our biggest belief, is that success starts at home. And that home is, remember, you, priority relationships, and building barriers to protect those first two. That will naturally just fall into your professional life. And that will naturally make your professional life a high performing attribute to your life, because you're feeling better about yourself. You're feeling more fulfilled. You're feeling more connected with the people that matter. Okay. And that's what we're trying to instill here. The blueprint is the gap between being stuck in a place where you're just frustrated and not getting what you want out of life and getting to where you want to be. And it's that blueprint because it provides training, community, and accountability. And you know as well as I do that the majority of guys, and probably including yourself, trying to do it yourself, you just procrastinate. There's no one there kicking you up the backside. And that's what our job is to get you to the place that you want to be. We've got 7 places. If you register before midnight tonight on the Elite Squad one, we're going to give you a free place at my private mentor group in London on May the 10th. You can come down. If you can't make that date, then I will still honour that bonus and make sure that you can come to one that you can later on in the year. Okay, we do 4 a year in London in the same place. So if you can't make May the 10th, I will give you another seat later on in the year. Okay, I want to be able to honour that for you and make sure you get that bonus for taking action. Okay, I think that's about it, guys. It's been a great 3 days. I really enjoyed delivering these. I really am looking forward to working with any of you that decide to come on the other side and come and see what it's really like to put this into action. Because this is the top. This is the soil at the top. What we do in the blueprint is the foundations. Do you remember the foundations that we build? And that's where I get to see the development of you guys. That's where I get to see the development of you. That's how I get to see the wins, the character building, the change of attitude. And when I talk to people, I see the difference when I have conversations with them. Okay. If you have any questions, if you have any worries, if you have anything that you're overthinking that you want to discuss with me, okay, you can book a call with me. I will quite happily talk to you if you need some reassurance and some guidance. This is like, I like to think that after 3 days now, you kind of know how I work, how we work, what we stand for, and what we're trying to achieve here. And we're trying to bring in the right type of guy into this environment to not only learn and grow, but to bring something to it as well as you develop. Because in another 3 months, when there's a new group of guys coming through, I want you to remember and look at those guys and go, that used to be me. Now I need to inspire them. And we become leaders amongst ourselves and support each other. Okay. So I've done a lot of homework in terms of what everybody else offers in and around. This is the most comprehensive personal and professional development program that you'll find, okay, in terms of support, accountability, and everything else. Okay. Let me just read this question. Does everyone switch up from the elite brotherhood to squad at a later date? I like both, but I can't stretch to squad level. 100%. So if you decide that you want to come in at the elite brotherhood at the start and you go, right, do you know what? I'm going to spend the first 8 weeks, and you want to come in and you want to do that, then do that. And then what will happen through it, we'll have a discussion. So what happens after this rise here, as long as you've shown up, so you're not guaranteed to continue if you're not showing up. Okay, that's the thing. All right, the way that we work is that you have to make sure you're showing up to stay with us. Okay, once you leave the first time, we have a no return policy, because we're trying to build an elite movement, an elite consistent community. Okay, so if we have lads, we've had lads in the past just jumping in and out whenever they feel like they need the hit. Okay, and that's not what we're trying to achieve. We're trying to achieve a consistent elite community. Does that make sense? And that means that we're practicing what we preach, and it upholds the integrity of the guys that are showing up, because it must become frustrating for them when they see lads just jumping in and out. You're like, we're trying to build this community together, right? So yes, you can upgrade the squad. I really kicked the ass out of that answer, didn't I? Does the basic blueprint include lessons like this? 100%. So basically, if you look on that link that I sent you, I've put all of the frameworks that we cover, 100%, but we go into more depth. So the framework one is about the morning routine. Then we talk about vision. We're talking about planning. We're talking about the pillars and how to construct your day around the pillars. We're talking about self-mastery. And how to build the different levels of self-mastery. Another framework is talking about problems. Another framework is talking about how do you plan over 10 and not plan, create a vision over 5 and 10 years. Another one is how do you build discipline and standards. Then there was a whole host of bonus content of how to be productive. There's like 8 bonus videos. So there is a whole host of content in there for you to drip feed. Okay. And I've put it in the order that I think you need to go through on this process to be able to develop. So the first thing is to build a morning routine. That's what we're looking to do. So I want you to start winning in the morning. 99.9% of our guys that come through say that morning routine's the biggest game changer. And it will be. For those of you that come through, it will be. 2 of the lads this morning were getting up at 7:30, getting ready last minute. And this morning I made them get up at 5:30. And they were like, oh my God, I had so much time. I felt so much better. I'm exhausted, and because you've got to get used to it, but you get that time in the morning. So it does go into depth in all of those videos. The videos last anywhere between kind of like 4.5 minutes right up to 10 minutes. Okay. So it's just telling you exactly what you need. You watch the video and then you go away and you practice that, and you go away and implement that. And that's what I mean by 1% a day. If you go in and watch them all and then you've got overwhelmed, then that's the strategy that doesn't really work. But that's stuff that we will talk to you about on the telephone when we do our introductory call. We make sure you get the right mentality, the right strategy to make sure that you win. And on that phone call, I get to learn and understand how you work and what you've got going on around you. Okay. And that's why we're targeting like professional guys, because obviously you're busy. But I had a conversation with a guy before he even joined, and he was going, well, busy professionals don't have a lot of time to be able to do this type of stuff. And I was like, well, that's the whole point. You should be doing it. Just because you're a busy professional, it should still only take up a certain amount of your day, where you're then making sure that you're making time for family, you, personal development, everything else so that you're growing. Make sense? Let's have a look here. Questions. So the difference is that the blueprint just includes access to the material, but not accountability. So what the 375 process does. You'll get the videos, you'll take the videos, and you'll go and do it by yourself. What we have offered, though, and for the next package up, the Elite Brotherhood, is the blueprint with all of the very basic package, which gives you all the accountability, all of the support. The main difference between the Brotherhood, the squad, and the mentorship is how much I'm involved in your life. Okay. So if you're in the squad, you're going to get more access to me. If you're on I've only got one place as well on my top 1%. If you go, right, I'm going all in, I want to do this on a one-to-one with JB, I am your second wife. You will pretty much be talking to me nearly every other day, as well as all of the Zoom calls that we have and our one-to-ones and all of the other things that we do. Okay. In the Elite Squad, okay, we're definitely checking in with you guys and communicating with you guys regularly. You get an extra 2 small group focus sessions on Fridays with me. That's where we really get into what's going on in your world, what we need to be working on. And that's where I'll be checking on you a little bit more. Okay, makes sense? I hope so. Let me just look at this question here. Do people join in the Elite Brotherhood after 12 weeks of getting themselves going in the right direction? Do they then generally or encouraged to go alone to really consume the blueprint content, then come back? There's particular struggles, as it seems there are a few people that have been around for a while. I assume they haven't signed up to 1 or 2 years straight. So what we always offer, when you come into those 12 weeks, when you get to this stage here, whether you do the 8 weeks or the 12 weeks, you get to a certain standard. You get to a certain place where actually, if you think about it in a military sense, you do a boot camp. And for the Royal Marines, you do your basic 32 weeks of training. When you get there, you then go to the next level and start learning how to perform at the next level. So what we do is that we do the initial 8 or 12 weeks, and then the following 12 weeks to 6 months becomes putting this into practice. Okay, so you've kind of come through boot camp, you've become skilled, you've become motivated, you've become in a direction. Now we start pushing ourselves and cementing everything that we've learned. So like I mentioned just a couple of minutes ago, if you leave the Brotherhood, once you join us and then leave, we have a no return policy. And it's basically, just to reiterate again, to uphold the elite mentality that we have, right? So if people decide to leave, so we either ask people to leave if they're not showing up, or people decide to fly the nest and leave, and we say, right, that's it. Yep, thank you so much for being a part of it. Because we had so much disruption over the last 2 years of lads jumping in and jumping out, and lads going, oh, I'm back. And that's not what we're after. That's not our model. What we're trying to do is create longevity. But we're trying to create and rebuild men so that when they are ready, they can either decide to fly the nest and develop their life. But a lot of the guys fall in love with the community and the networking and the events that we do and meeting people. And a lot of guys have built lifelong friends. So they decide to stay in the community and they continue that training and they continue to stay at a high level. So it's really a personal choice of what you want. The best thing that you can do is really look at this process here. You're gonna be a different guy here. I haven't met anybody that's followed the process, got to 8 weeks or 12 weeks, and has not been a different guy, has not seen the world in a different way, has not approached their life in a different way. And that's really powerful. And the things that you think you want here, they change when you get here because you realize your potential. You have more confidence and more self-belief. Does that make sense? I hope that answers your question. Guys, is there any more questions that you want to ask me while I'm here? And again, we talk about the fear factor. Don't be afraid to ask me any questions here, okay? Don't be afraid to get in touch with me on my email, which is me@boardmanjames.com. Any of the emails that you've been getting, you can just reply to them and come back to me, okay? I'm open. I'm an open book. I've got nothing to hide. I'm happy to talk to you. I'm happy to confirm things with you. If you feel nervous about doing it on here, if you're watching back, just drop me an email. I want you to feel like you're making the right decision. Right here. Ultimately, this is going to benefit anybody. Okay, in terms of if you want to thrive and you want to change the way that you show up, If it doesn't after 60 days and you have shown up, you're going to get your money back. There's no two ways about it. Like, we've never had to do it. Never in the 5 years that we've been doing it has anyone asked for their money back that has shown up, met me halfway and shown up 1% every single day. Okay. So this is what we love doing. There's over 60 years worth of experience on the team. There's me. There is, in fact, we've just added a new member of team. So there's me. There is John Talbot, who has been in corporate management for nearly 30 years. He works with me. There is Mikey B, who's been in corporate for 35 years and now works for me. And we've just taken on a guy who's just got over stage 4 cancer, Marcus, and he is going to be working for me as well. And all of these guys contribute to your development. It's not just about me giving it to you. It's about giving different perspectives from other coaches. Okay. So you get a really well-rounded experience of people that are on there. How much of it is based around fitness? So I would say that 5 to 10% of it is fitness. Okay. What we don't do is, in the Brotherhood, there is a ton of workouts, old workouts that we used to do, home workouts, and there's nutrition guides of how to track calories, etc. like that. What we want you to do is be able to create, it's not here, your structure based on yesterday to be able to work out. So you will decide what your training is. But as long as you're showing up to do your training, the majority of guys through this period lose anywhere between 1 stone and 2 stone. And I don't even talk about fitness and nutrition. It's simply because you get your arse in gear and you build structure and you're going to the gym and you want to eat well. And then all of a sudden you've lost a ton of weight just by being more structured, which is the reason that I did this in the first place. I used to do personal training online and I got so fed up because lads' routines and lives were all over the place that we went to the root cause of the problem and changed that, which was becoming more structured, commanding more of their time, energy, and focus. Okay. And that, okay, changed the outlook of the fitness. Okay. You change that core problem and everything else becomes better. The relationships, the sex life, the shape of your body, your mindset, your emotions, your career. And that's what we focus on. So when we work, or you work with us, when you get your time, energy, and focus right, and you go, right, I'm going to do 4 30-minute sessions a week, just for example, you do that over 8 weeks, you do that over 12 weeks, you're going to see the difference. Okay. Thanks, Stuart. Appreciate it. How much of it? What is the biggest difference that makes the difference, do you believe? This. Everything goes in here. So where is it? This. My first book, it says everything you need to know. It's a state of mind. So my podcast as well. My podcast is called It's a State of Mind. Everything is a state of mind. Everything, every decision that you make. Okay, you could make you guys are on a path here, right? And you could go down this path and you could come with me and we could take you to where you want to be. And it could change the way that you live your life forever. You could overthink it and not do it, and your life's definitely going to stay the same as it has been. So you've got to ask yourself, do I want to go for this change, or do I want to stay the way that I'm going now and I'm still making me miserable and unhappy? I definitely know that route, but this route could be life-changing. And everything, that decision comes from here. The decision as to whether you keep building a business, the decision to whether you want to get promoted and you want to show up and put the effort in, the decision to lose 2, 3 stone that maybe you're carrying or just shaping up and have more energy, the decision to make it work with your wife, the decision to have that first drink, even though you know when you have that first drink, it's going to turn into a bender. Everything is here. It starts here. Every decision you make, and that ultimately is what we're trying to change here. The way that you think, the way that you use your mind. It's a mind gym. And we're trying to condition it so that you become a top 1% performer. Make sense? Any more questions? Cool. So thank you so much for being here. There's going to be a couple more emails that are going to follow through over the next couple of days. You're going to get access to the Brotherhood until Sunday night. The offer closes Sunday night unless the first 7 places go. okay, or the next 7 places go. If you register tonight and you join the elite squad, you're going to get a place at our mentor table. And by the way, that mentor table that we do is £1,500 a ticket for a whole day, because it is the most powerful day. The guys that we got in the room are really high performers. They've started right here. In fact, I think every single one of them started on this Awaken Your Potential, and they've slowly moved up the ranks, if you like, or the courses, and start to work with me on a private level. But you'll be more than welcome to come on that day. You will get so much from that day. And if you can't make May, we'll do the next one, which I think is in July sometime. Okay. If there's any questions, drop me an email. If you drop me an email and it's about a question about joining, I still honour that thing before midnight, but I won't get back to you tomorrow. Okay. Because I need to spend some time with my wife. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate you guys. Really appreciate you. And thank you for all the lovely comments. I really hope to see you on the other side. I hope you take the plunge. I hope you realise how amazing this could be for your life. And hopefully you'll email me, or we'll see you on the other side. And if not, keep watching, keep doing your thing, and make sure you become that top 1%, yeah? Let's do it.